When games wear their influences on their sleeve, it's a gamble whether the creators know it or not. While it can draw the attention of fans that enjoyed the games that influenced yours, it's very important that you deliver a comparable experience that at minimum is similar and at best has its own identity. In the case of Berserk Boy, there is, in my eyes, obvious inspiration from series like Mega Man and Mega Man Zero, with elements of other series incorporated into the gameplay structure. You play as K, a young boy who's a member of the Resistance, an organization that exists for... It's actually never revealed what the Resistance is resisting, but as the game begins, the primary antagonist is revealed as Dr. Genos, a recently evil researcher who seeks to take over the world utilizing the power of Berserk Orbs. These orbs are items of great power that grant unique special abilities to the people that are able to merge with them. After merging with a Berserk Orb to keep it out of Dr. Genos' hands, K sets out to defeat Dr. Genos and his subordinates and save the world. If you couldn't tell already, the story of Berserk Boy isn't incredible, but in its defense, the stories of the original Mega Man games weren't much different, and look at how many of those were made. There's also banter and conversations K has with other characters that are full of personality and are nice to see, but given the employed tropes, the critical feature for Berserk Boy is that the gameplay is engaging. The core gameplay of Berserk Boy is action platforming with the goal of defeating bosses and gaining new Berserk forms. Moment-to-moment gameplay is fast-paced, with the primary attack of your first Berserk form being a high-speed, 8-directional dash that drains a regenerating energy meter and can be repeated when hitting targets. This allows you to ricochet between enemies, moving quickly across the screen, dealing damage, and marking them for your secondary ability. The secondary attack for your first form is a homing projectile that deals additional damage and creates a damaging field of electricity around K. This interaction is extremely fluid and enables you to speed through levels, testing your reflexes on a first attempt, and compounding it to seamless mastery as you become more familiar. Each stage has a grading system, reminiscent of the Sonic series, that further incentivizes high-speed level clearing with factors such as score from defeating enemies, time to clear the level, and number of deaths contributing to a final letter grade. Stages in Berserk Boy are divided into zones that contain 3 stages and 3 unlockable extra stages. All zones typically follow a pattern of having mini-bosses in the first 2, with the third stage having a boss fight with one of Dr. Genos' subordinates. Every stage, while appearing linear at first glance, is actually free to explore, and contains hidden medals and civilians to rescue. Spread throughout each stage are 4 teleporters that, once activated, can be returned to in order to explore different paths. This backtracking is encouraged, as some medals can only be acquired with abilities you obtain later in the game. Locating all civilians in a stage will unlock an extra time trial version of that stage to further test your abilities. Medals, on the other hand, appear to serve no purpose, despite K asserting that they seem important when collected, which I'll come back to later. Berserk Boy does a lot of things right to establish its own identity while staying within expectations given its observable influences. With satisfying gameplay, an absolute banger of a soundtrack, and a variety of elemental powers acquired from defeating bosses, Berserk Boy starts very strong, and the level design does some things very well. For example, it utilizes screen transitions between sections of a stage, and energy pickups are placed to refill your ability energy, while passively and safely guiding the player through the level. This philosophy is utilized throughout the game, even when new obstacles are introduced, and helps ensure the player isn't blindly jumping into danger they couldn't have known was ahead. But I feel that this leading with energy pickups creates a conflict with how the game wants you to think about energy in these pickups, and brings other questionable decisions into the foreground. Energy pickups primarily function as currency for upgrades, so you're already incentivized to collect them, but they also restore your ability energy. This could potentially create situations where you need to manage your energy expenditure or plan your route in order to successfully traverse a platforming section, and would provide a very engaging level of interaction and a measurable skill ceiling. But sections of levels are relatively small, and since energy pickups are used to guide the player through the stage, the idea of managing a limited energy pool becomes inconsequential. While this energy system could theoretically create tension in specific platforming sections, I was never required to make an active effort to manage my energy because these pickups are so abundant. As a result, I found I could often just hold forward and mindlessly follow the trails of energy to easily get where I needed to go, which makes me question the energy system's existence in the first place. Another means of concern is the balance, or more accurately, lack of balance, of your required Berserk forms, which is again highlighted by the fact that energy can effectively be ignored. How each form uses energy is not always consistent, with some powers being incredibly strong and others being comically bad. This can result in situations where some Berserk forms can endlessly spam their attacks for free, sometimes maintaining invincibility, and sometimes stun-locking enemies, further disengaging the player from what's on the screen. Adding even more to this erosion of engagement is the introduction of a form that grants you the ability to fly around the midpoint of the game. While it does moderately drain your energy, this limitation effectively doesn't exist because of the aforementioned abundance of energy pickups, your passive energy regeneration, and the small size of stage sections. Gaining the ability to fly makes backtracking and exploring previous levels easier, but it also completely undermines the platforming the game is built around. Speaking of backtracking, let's return to the hidden medals I mentioned earlier. They do actually serve a purpose, which is revealed at the end of the game. After defeating Dr. Genos, he blows up his lab and escapes. Kay and his companions are concerned that the conflict wasn't explicitly settled, but the Resistance leader tells them that their focus should be on helping the people affected by the conflict rather than chasing down Dr. Genos. It's then revealed that in order to see the real ending of the game, you need to collect 50 of these hidden medals. Since medals served no purpose before this reveal, there's little incentive to collect them at all, and this prompted a realization that the game is potentially designed with backtracking as a requirement rather than as optional completion. Especially when you consider paths in previous levels that can't be reached without abilities you acquire in the last leg of the game. While this on its own isn't necessarily a bad thing, there are many other things that are bad, and slowly diminished any remaining interest I had in Berserk Boy as I continued to play. Bosses typically have very few attack patterns, and often there will be areas of the screen you can safely occupy and deal damage with zero danger. Stages also become longer as form-specific obstacles are repeated and chained together, but even this begins to feel lazy. Often you automatically switch into the form you need to traverse an obstacle, or the game will automatically point you in the correct direction. In my opinion, this resulted in a feeling that gaining more abilities was actually making the game less engaging. All of these things combined left me with zero desire to collect the remaining medals and see the real conclusion. In the end, Berserk Boy is an action platformer that starts strong and clearly has its own identity, but begins to feel weighed down as more mechanics are introduced. While obtaining new forms and abilities is fun, these forms begin to take away more enjoyment than they add, with some being borderline useless, and stages becoming longer as obstacles are repeated to justify your various forms. While Berserk Boy is by no means a terrible game, in my opinion, it becomes more and more mediocre the further you progress. Thanks for watching, take care, and remember, keep having fun.